Ready? You have your mic right?
Yes.
Welcome back to Healing in Spanglish. It's episode 1. It's your hosts, Metzli and Ixchel, your Boyle Heights besties, figuring out what wellness really looks like for us and our people.
So let's get real about healing in all the ways we weren't taught but deeply deserve. So the theme for today is friendship in our 20s, specifically how we come to an understanding of what that definition means for us and all of our transitional phases in life. So we're going to get into kind of like what that's like for us currently and how we can offer some advice to you.
And then we're going to do like a little check-in every week, every episode about ourselves and just in the theme of healing in Spanglish. First check-in is our Spanglish word of the week. So Ixchel, what is the word of the week?
Vapuru. Sorry. Well, the real
Vapuru.
because the real name is vapor rub.
Yeah,
but
so weird.
I know, right? It's so weird, but we say vapuru. So that is our Spanglish word of the week.
Rub?
Vapor rub. Vapor rub.
Vapor rub.
Yeah, but you always need your vapuru
Staple.
whenever you're sick.
Mm-hmm.
Anything. My parents even use it on pimples. Like, yeah. Apparently they swear. I've used it a few times, but I think it's too harsh.
Good.
Yeah.
It just smells so good too. It's like
But
home.
it is home.
It is a good word. That's
Yeah.
a good word. of the week. Vapor rub. Vapor rub. So another thing that we're going to do is like a check-in every week is our mini healing confession, something that we're both individually working on for ourselves in our healing journeys. So for me, one thing that I'm definitely working on as of late is just prioritizing more alone time, more independent time to allow myself time to connect with myself. But I think I've gotten comfortable just like always being around people all the time. And like, it's great and I love it, but I also want to like be in my own thoughts sometimes instead of like always having a conversation, always like, running like full speed. And so trying to prioritize like a little bit more time to reflect, to just be with myself.
Yeah, it's a balance.
Yeah, it's a balance.
Yeah, for me, definitely lowering my screen time. Obviously, we did grow up in a generation where we kind of rely on these things, and I've kind of gotten a little bit addicted.
It's hard,
I might say, yeah. So I think what I'm working on, my therapist actually, she put me on to this hack, but she just kind of said to like factor in screen time into like my nightly routine. So maybe like setting aside 30 minutes, right? Because obviously I'm going to doom scroll. I might as well do it with a healthy boundary.
And time
it, right? Yeah. So I'm working on like just doing it like 30 minutes, like an hour before I go to bed because I still don't want to like be too much on my phone. But it's hard, honestly.
It
like
is hard.
Yeah. I also like social media is tricky too because like I use it for like connections and community. So like obviously it has its downsides.
That's like our world right now. Like, that's how we connect with
literally.
folks.
And it's how I find like any cool events during the weekends.
Yeah,
like, I have to be on it so that I know what I'm doing for the weekend.
Exactly.
So it's been hard, but we're working on it.
That's a good one. Balance.
Funny.
It's also a balance.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Okay, so we're going to jump into today's convo about friendships in our 20s. On a little lighthearted note, we're going to start with like a little question regarding friendships. So my question is, what's one of the most wholesome or silly things a friend has done recently that makes you smile, or something that they do that like you love?
I think one of the things that I've noticed with my current friendships is that like every time we like go out, like typically somebody will pay for something or like kind of like, as a thank you for like gas money and things like that. And it's kind of been like an unspoken truth, like action or truth that we do for each other. And I appreciate that because I've had friendships where like I feel like I've had to ask you, and it's fine, right? I can ask, I don't mind, but it's always just nice when like the other person acknowledges that like you're making that effort,
being thoughtful about it. Okay, you're doing me this, like,
it's the least I can do. I think that's been
cute.
One of the I've seen it consistently too, so I'm like, that's so sweet. I appreciate it. What about you?
For me this is so simple, but I've noticed I've always been bad to take compliments. Like it's always been a hard one.
It's real.
And I think because I grew up getting a lot of compliments about my academic success, like, oh, she's a straight A student. Oh, like, blah, blah, whatever. And so getting other types of compliments, like physical compliments, like, or like something, something like externally, it's hard for me to accept sometimes. Like it's a little bit like, oh, thanks. I don't know. Like, what do I do with myself now?
No, that's so real.
You're like, and so I think in return also though, it's hard for me to say them because I feel awkward, even though I think it, I'm like, oh my God, like I love her outfit. Oh my God, like I love her, whatever it is, right? It's just like hard for me to say it. Like I'm thinking it and I'm just like, the words coming out give me anxiety, bro. Anyways, like I have friends who like are so comfortable giving compliments, and I just love it, and it makes me just feel like wow, like so inspired to try to push myself to like do it and receive it better, like just like thanks, you know, like. But I just feel like
no, that's real. So I also struggle with.
Makes me feel like
you're like thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to be better at like just responding and like accepting it instead of like no, like that's not true.
Like that is valid.
Yeah. So I would say that makes me happy.
I love it.
Okay, let's jump into it.
Okay, so now we're going to jump into our conversation today about friendships. So how do we define them in our own lived experiences? Kind of like talking about like the boundaries we set as time progresses to build healthy reciprocal relationships, and also talking a little bit more about like the shifts in dynamics, especially when we like, we're transitioning, right? Like we're going through different phases of our lives, especially like for both of us, like college. After the end of college, a lot of our friendships, our home friends shifted, as well as like we've had to build new friends and community to be able to, you know, kind of live that life that we really envision for ourselves.
Yeah. And then we'll also end with some like more practical things that have helped us maintain and continue those relationships, or just find them in general for the first time again, like when you move back from home, all those things. So we also want to share some things that you can take away, that if you're struggling in this or you're trying to make deeper friendships, some of the things that have worked really well for us as well. Yeah, cool. Let's get into it. All right, so we're going to start with, like we said, defining and understanding what friendships even mean to us. And I feel like it's a continuous thing as of late that I've seen, that people want to have deeper friendships, especially women that I talk to. They want those deep friendships, and sometimes I hear people like yearning for them and not having them. And it's interesting to define what friendship even means nowadays, right? Like we were talking about social media a little bit, like who knows, right? It can look so many different ways, and I think it's different for everyone as well, possibly. So what does it even mean to have a deep friendship to you?
I think to me specifically, a friend just means like somebody that I can rely on. And that like is very vulnerable with me. You know, that we can communicate about like things that make us uncomfortable in our friendship. And also somebody that like is just very loving towards me. Because obviously like, you know, like we all go through really difficult things in our lives, but I always appreciate when a friend can be very caring and also be upfront to me about some certain things.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think like the way I see it is like the way I would see a relationship, right? I kind of see them like the expectations kind of on the same boat. Obviously,
they're still the same too.
Yeah, and they also hurt the same because
or worse, honestly.
Friendship breakups are hard. They're so hard. But yeah, I think that's just how I see them. And, you know, I think for me too, and a really important thing is like that reciprocation, right? Like if I'm there for you, I hope that you can be there for me, right? And obviously like those expectations are different depending on like how we're feeling at the times. But, you know, like just making sure that we can both be there for each other and it's not like a one-way road, and then it just kind of feels like you're not really there for them.
I agree with you completely. I agree with everything. I think the two things I'll add is that I've learned that I look for in deep friendships now, or when I consider people to like truly be my friend, is one, like genuine support to one another. Like I don't feel like it's competitive or only one of us could do this thing. Like I don't know, I've seen that. Even though I feel so like far away, like I have seen that. Envy, jealousy, and I'm just like, no, like friends I would consider people that I don't feel like I have to like tiptoe around sharing like this success, because I know that they're just like so happy for me, you know? Like I feel like you could tell when someone's kind of like, oh, like good for you, versus like really, dude, like that's amazing, like that's like you just feel it from those people, you know? And so I feel like that's something that I'm learning, like, okay, I can start to tell like some people just like I have friends who I'm just like, dude, you like really just support me, and that's like amazing. I feel like truly supported, you know? So I would say that. And the other thing that I think has made or broken friendships is communication. So like I feel like I really see communication in friendships now, and you kind of touched on this, but being able to be honest with each other. Like I'd rather have a friend who's going to tell me something that maybe I don't want to hear than just feeding me everything you think I want to know and hear, you know? Then I don't feel challenged or I don't feel called out. And I feel like a true friend, just like in a relationship too, a romantic one, it's not about like, oh, well, I'm never going to have an opinion. I'm never going to say anything. I would want someone who like wants to challenge me, or like, well, why do you feel that way? Or can I share what I think? You know, like, I just think those things are really important, at least in maybe some of my deeper friendships. It doesn't need to be like every friendship. That's how we define friendships. Something that I thought about that we were talking about offline was like this whole idea around like best friends, and what that means. And I think we still use that term, but I think it's gotten a little looser. But I'm curious, like, what your experience has been like growing up. For me, oh my God, I used to be that friend that like we had the matching magnetic necklaces, and like that was my best friend and I was hers. And it was just like heartbreaking when like something shifted. And it was so hard to like maintain that exclusivity, like that title. And it was hurtful too. Like, yeah, the word best friend just scares me now. It just scares me because I'm just like, it makes me feel like, oh, it's only us, right? Like you're my best out of everyone. And it feels like favoritism. And I'm like, I get scared around the word because I'm like, I don't want a person to feel excluded because they called me their best friend, that's only us, right? Like I can have multiple best close friends. So that's why I often refer to people as like my close friends.
No, that's real. Like, that's valid.
Have you had that experience, like best friends, or have you seen that play?
I don't think I ever had like a best friend like growing up. I feel like friendships is always something I struggled with since I was like honestly like a kid in grade school. But I always admired like what I considered to be like besties.
What you think you see,
right? Like the way I perceived that relationship, right? Like I always was like, damn. I want that. Especially when because I also think like I struggle a lot with like physical affection too, and I see some besties that are like very like. And I love
one
it.
Hug, hi, one hug, bye.
But I
feel you.
No. And I've always like admired it and I love it. But like it's just like a different level for me that I don't know if like I'm still working on my, my inner things that I'm battling with like physical touch. But like I've always admired it, but I've never had one, I would say. I think now the closest I could say is like my best friend from college, which I do use best friend in that sense. But I was telling Matthew like offline that I consider him more as like a brother. Like he's been with me like for a really long time, but I've never really, I also think it's a little sticky too, because it's like you said, like what defines like somebody better to be better than another person, right? I feel like each friend can fill your cup in different ways, and can show up in differently as well. But the
term is really interesting because I feel like it could be exclusive, and that's why sometimes it's like an unspoken thing, like people don't talk about, like I don't know, I just think it has like favoritism, and it does worry me a little bit. Like I don't want my friends to feel excluded because we refer to each other as like best friends,
or like also that weird situation where like somebody considers you your best friend but you've never even thought about it that way,
and I'm like, oh no, like let's not do that, like just us, you know. And I just, like publicly too, like I'm just like I love that people would consider me their best friend or something. And I have had that actually before too, which I care for them and love them. But I'm like, okay, let's not make it like a thing, like, oh, it's just you and I. Just because I worry about how other people would feel because of how I've felt in relationships where I feel like I'm the third one, kind of like their besties, and I like hang out with them. So it's an interesting term for sure. So
and I think like in addition to that, like a little sidetrack, like when we think about like childhood dynamics and like when it comes to like jealousy and envy, like feeling envious, like have you ever had any experiences where you felt like somebody that you might have considered like a really close friend might have, maybe felt envious towards like your successes?
I feel like, and I feel like it's natural to feel that to some extent, right? Like you just like, you maybe want some of the things that a person has because like you also want to, I don't know, whatever it is, right? Like get that scholarship, which is like some of my experiences in high school, or, whatever it is, like go get into that sports team or whatever it is, have a boyfriend, whatever, anything, right? And I feel like sometimes it's more projection, but it's like on me that like, or on a person, right? Not just me, but just like there's envy of that. But that's what I'm talking about. That's why something really important in friendships to me is it's okay to like be like, dude, I want to do that too. Like I can be inspired by you, but not like I want to take that from you. And I feel like I've had friendships where it's like I'm excited about this thing that happened, and then it's like, oh, like that's cool, and that feels like jealousy in like a not a good way. It feels like I don't like that you're doing it and I'm not, or so I have definitely dealt with that. And kind of on the thing that we've talked about too before, like possessiveness too is like a whole other thing of exclusivity, like just feeling like this is my person. I don't know, it's like a whole, there's so many terms when it comes to like friends in childhood that are so loosely used that make it really tricky to me.
It is very interesting because I remember
what about you with jealousy?
Same thing? I don't think I've had like anything that I can think of right now. But definitely like growing up, I do have vivid memories of like two girls were friends, right? And they known each other for a minute, and I kind of like was in the picture, and I was like, hey, like I kind of want to be friends. Like both of you are cool. But then I've always, funny enough, like I have a crazy memory of like this girl really thought that I was here to take her friend forever.
Oh, and yeah, like, I've seen that. Yeah,
and it just felt so weird because I'm like, I'm just trying to make friends, but it feels like this weird possessiveness that you, this is you and her, and you guys are like locked in as friends. And it just it creates this like weird dynamic because then I also see like the other person on the other side who like wants to branch out but also feels like they can. But yeah, I think I don't know, like I've always like struggled with friendships, and I've been in a lot of situations where I'm like the third person being added in. And I've always felt like to some degree, like they were kind of threatened by me. Obviously I don't know, that was like maybe in my mind, but I did feel like in some occasions, like anytime I did express like any successes or like going through just really good things, like I would feel some sort of like interesting shift in their energy.
Like not actually support.
And it's been weird because like I feel like I struggled with it a lot growing up, but I feel like now as an adult, my friendships are like, no, like you're doing that, like that's so fucking badass. Like I just feel so empowered and uplifted by my current friendships, but it's definitely been something I've battled with, honestly.
I wanted us to touch on like maybe some of the differences between how we view male and female friendships. What those dynamics look like. What does that mean to you?
I personally think that I prefer female friendships. I just think the level of like emotional intimacy that you can have with somebody female identifying or presenting is completely different than like what I've experienced with men. Like I just feel like it's harder to get to a different level.
Okay, but let's also I think what's important about this, because I agree, but I also don't want any like straight man who might listen or hear this to think like, well, y'all are all just shit, you know? This is not an excuse for them. But I think there's like this other layer also when it comes to like straight men and like the culture that they grew up with seeing of how they should behave, how they build friendships. And it's so unfortunate because then exactly that, they're just like not as emotionally available. I see that in like friendships that I see with guys, like the depth isn't there as much as often, right? Like I will say I do have some friendships that are guys that have impressed me in that way. But it's not common. But I feel like there's no sense of like vulnerability because I even see it in my dad. Why is my relationship with my mom deeper? I can talk about deeper things. I can talk to her about, you know, relationships and friendships. But then with my dad, it's like a little bit weirder. Like, why is that? And I feel like he doesn't know how to handle those conversations or like go that deep. And I don't know, it's just unfortunate to me because like it really does suck that I feel like they also, like my dad, I think about my brother, my little brother, are like deprived of what a friendship could really be for them if they had like that depth or emotional availability. And so it's just unfortunate to me, but I agree that women friendships are so much deeper. But I also think about the layer of like, it's so unfortunate, but they kind of never learn how to
get there,
not from their kids or their fathers, you know. And I'm just like, it sucks. What could he do?
That's like, honestly, I don't think like, because I'm trying to think like, do I really have a lot of like straight male friends? I think I probably have like one or two,
and they're not
more like acquaintances.
Like, hey, you're cool.
Kind of getting to friends, but it's a different layer, and I don't blame them. Like, I have empathy because we all grew up in the patriarchy, and it sucks that like sometimes, especially for men, I think it's really difficult for them to be emotional, right? Like that is not like something that's allowed. So I think definitely for sure being around. Women just
and I agree. It sucks because I do sometimes feel really uncomfortable around men. And just like their focus on stuff. Like, gosh, I've been on some trips with like mostly men, and I'm like, oh, like all you think about is like freaking girl you're gonna freaking hook up with, and I'm just like, oh, like, is there anything else to talk about right now? It's so interesting to me, but I definitely feel you. I think female friendships are just like a different level of depth. And I think that's why also sometimes it hurts more.
No, I was going to say that too.
It hurts more because I feel like I hold them to a higher standard in a positive way. Not in like, I expect more from women because they should be doing more. It's that I just feel like their capacity, their abilities emotionally, I know like the potential like women friendships or women are just so much higher. And with guys, I'm like, find another friend. Like,
no, literally. No, that's real. Yeah. Like, definitely like some of my hardest like friendship breakups have been with women.
It's hard.
It's hard. Yeah, because you've invested so much emotionally. You've like built a really beautiful friendship, and like to have to say goodbye to something that, you know, maybe isn't aligning with you in that moment anymore really freaking hurts.
Yeah.
So now we want to get into a little bit of like the challenges of friendships, how we place healthy boundaries, or, you know, how we learned along the road to maintain healthy friendships. So something I kind of wanted to ask you is like, how did you see some of your friendship dynamic shift as you evolved and were growing, healing, and, you know, just going through like some transitional periods where you were, you know, trying to be your higher self?
Yeah, I feel like it definitely showed up more recently when I moved into a house and I was financially, things were changing for me. Yeah. Like I could not live the same life I did in college where I was on scholarships. I was, let's go eat out. I used to do some dumb stuff. This is like side note here, but I used to like do dumb challenges.
I know this side of you right now.
I used to do dumb challenges to friends. I'd be like, okay, if you eat this ice cream with ketchup and like weird shit all combined, I'll give you $50. And I would do that.
What?
I felt like I was rich. Like I was giving out money and my friends would do it because they're like, I'm gonna take $50 right now.
Girl, I would do it right now
too. Now I'm like, damn, I'm done for that. Honestly, it served me like in the moment a good laugh.
That's funny as fuck. Oh my gosh, I never would have envisioned that.
I know. I don't know what I was thinking, dude. I wasn't thinking, but anyways, college is
She's a good friend.
College is different. I was just kind of like spending freely, and when I graduated college, and then I went through like the home ownership process, finances changed. My mortgage is a mortgage. Yeah. I knew I was going to make compromises. And so with that, I knew that I was going to start spending differently. I was no longer eating out the way I love to. I was no longer, well, this is different, but I stopped drinking alcohol. That saved me money. But, or, you know, just different things, right? Like the way I was spending was just different. I didn't think though that my friendships would also change because of that, right? Because I was making changes for my own life, but what it also meant was that I wasn't going to go out to clubs if I wasn't going to drink or spend money. I wasn't going to go out to eat every day or every weekend because I was trying to save money. And so I noticed that some of the things that we did together before were no longer possible for me because of a big life shift where like I was like, I am fully committing to being on top of like my mortgage and being more conscious of my money and really trying to save. I also got a dog. So like expenses were just changing. And so I noticed that some of my friendships were also changing. So it is a really interesting one when some big life changes happen, or even simple ones, right? Like just, I don't want to drink anymore. Or I don't want to, you know, some of my friendships were maybe maintained by some of those things like going out. And that's like how we connected or eating out instead of like, now I was shifting to things like, I'm running, I'm hiking, because those are things that are like free. Yeah. Like, I can do more accessibly. And there's nothing wrong with either, right? Like people can go out, drink, have fun. That's y'all's choice. Like that's amazing. But for me, not doing that anymore, it meant that now I was like, okay, like, do y'all want to go running with me? And there's nothing wrong with no one wanting to go running with me. That's not their thing, you know? So there's nothing wrong with either. But what meant now is that we just had different things that maybe brought us joy or that we were open to doing. And like, I was having that boundary for myself. And so some friendships shifted, like some all of a sudden I don't hear from people, or I don't get invited because I'm not going to be out past 11 PM. And that's fine. But I think what hurts me is that there's not like a compromise in the middle. Like, okay, if I don't do that anymore and you know that, and that's something for my financial situation or for my health that I'm working on, we can find alternatives. We can find middle things, right? Like board game night, which I'm obsessed with, or going out to like hike or walk, or going to get a coffee, something like not so expensive, right? And so it sucks because some of them did start to shift because I guess those things are what brought us together. And then some others were willing to like meet me halfway and like, or I just started realizing like, maybe we're just doing different things now and that's okay. And now we're going to start doing different stuff, but it might mean that we might not see each other as often because we have different priorities right now, and that's like fine. But then I started to find other people who were in that same kind of boat as me, where they were trying to prioritize some of the similar things, right? Lifestyle or interests. And so it just naturally happened. Like, not that I hold anyone necessarily negatively who like made those shifts, but it meant like I kind of had to like with some of my friends. So
real,
I feel like those changes do happen. What about you? Have you had any big changes and then you notice shifts, or vice versa?
Yeah, I think like with adulthood, I have seen a lot of more shifts in my like friendships, and specifically I would say like my friendships that were like my home friends whenever I would come back from college. And very on a similar note, a lot of my friendships were sustained by like drinking and like smoking, and that's just something I've no longer like I'm choosing to engage with, just like for my own health, for my own self, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like Metzi said earlier, like if that's what you want to do, like I respect that, and by all means do that. But I just felt like that wasn't my priority as much as like it used to, like especially now because, you know, I'm starting to work my full-time job. I want to make sure that I'm saving, and, you know, obviously live out a life for myself where I am financially stable. And so I did also see a lot of shifts in that sense. But I think what for me was a little bit more hurtful is just that, like, I did see like in some friendships, like, there wasn't the same energy of reciprocation as often. And so it just kind of made me think like, were these friendships really just sustained by like alcohol and you know, drugs? And so it was kind of like sad to see, but I think also just understanding that like, it's very natural for friendships to and their dynamics to shift as you age. And it's really hard, right? Because it's like it's your home friends that you've known for so long.
You still care for them.
Like you've seen that they've seen you since you were like small to like where you are now. And I still have so much love for like all the friends that I've encountered throughout my life. But obviously we go through different changes. But and then like you said, like I definitely had to for me at least, I had to put myself out there to build those new friendships. But it's I wouldn't say it's easy, but like you can find new friends that align with you at the current stage that you are in your life. Definitely they do shift as transition.
And so then how do you know when it's like a shift, like, okay, we're just maybe gonna like create some distance here versus like this isn't healthy and now I think we should not be friends altogether? Because I've had ones where like, oh, I just don't like see you as often. Like I can say people who I think of who like we just have different things going on right now and like that's fine. Then I have ones that I'm like, actually, like I don't think we should be friends. And so like we've had the conversations and like both agreed we're no longer friends. And that's like a harder one. So like how do you know when to identify when a friendship isn't healthy to be their friend anymore? I know it's a loaded
I guess I don't think I've ever had that difficult conversation with a friend. I think honestly, like I will say that like I feel like I used to struggle a lot with like communicating things and like being vulnerable. Like I didn't learn it at home. My parents don't know how to communicate. So it's something that I've learned through therapy and like through my current friendships, right? Because obviously I want to sustain a healthy friendship. So I have to engage in these uncomfortable conversations. But I haven't had like the conversation of like, hey, like I just don't think we should be friends.
So do you think it's more like you create distance?
I would like, say slowly. I create distance, and I've had conversations with a few select friends about like how I'm choosing to live my current life. Like I had a conversation probably a few months ago with an old friend about just the fact that like I love that, you know, we were at a point where we would share like bless you. No, you're good. Where, you know, we would go out pineapple. Anyway, sorry. No, you're good. But no, you're good. But yeah, I do remember like we would like always smoke together. Like it was just kind of like our thing. Like it was our leisure thing. And I had to have a conversation with her a few months ago. Like, hey, like this isn't something I want to continue doing. Honestly, it was probably last year, but like it was really, I think for me it was awkward in the moment because I was like, I don't know. Like it's scary, right? You don't know how that friend is going to receive it, right? It can really tell you like what kind of person they are by the way they react. But they were very open to it. I was just like, you know, like when we hang out, I would prefer that we do sober things. You know, there's so much that we can do. And I did sense a little bit of a shift at the time, which is pretty natural, honestly. I think it was like early January, honestly. And which I was okay with because I understood that like, you know, that was something that they wanted to continue engaging with, which was fine. But yeah, it did definitely shift. But I think with my current friendships too, I mean, it hasn't been like a vulnerable conversation, but it just happened to align that like both like my closest friend right now that lives in the East Coast, he no longer wanted to drink and smoke. And that was like his own decision. And it was kind of like what inspired me to become fully sober in January. And so I haven't had that yet, but I definitely I want it to happen, not because obviously I want to have a breakup with the friendship, but I just want to make sure that I can also have that like upfront, authentic conversation with someone, right? Because I think it shows that you love them and you don't want to like just pretend like they weren't important in your life. Because I think before, the way I've gone around it, it's like, oh, it just kind of fell out, and then it is what it is, and we just don't speak.
What would be signs to you that like it's an unhealthy friendship?
I think for me, unhealthy is like the lack of communication and definitely like, oh my gosh, why did I blank right now? Lack of communication and reciprocation for me. I wouldn't say it's like, you know, toxic. I've had the privilege of not having to experience like crazy.
No, I just mean like little signs of like,
but definitely those two, because I think like I love my friends very dearly, like, and I nurture my friendships. And so I kind of expect that in return. Obviously, like, I understand that sometimes if we're going through things, it can be harder to show up for a friend. And I understand that, but I think with me, like, definitely reciprocation, like when I don't really see that energy coming the other way, I kind of do create some distance. And there's actually one conversation that I do need to have with someone. I just like, I don't know, like, every time I talk to my best friend from the East Coast, he always asks me, he's like, hey, how's that friendship going? And I'm like, we're still at square A. And he goes, homegirl, like, I feel like you, every time I talk to you, you tell me the same thing. And so
that's when you know it's a sign too. There you go, like you're constantly maybe like venting about it, or like feeling it, and like it needs to be said maybe.
And so like it's funny too, because I recently saw this person and like they told me like kind of like what they were going through, and I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense and it's completely valid. So I've kind of like I'm struggling with this one right now. I think I need to have an upfront conversation about like what I guess expect in the friendship. I also haven't had that, so it's like maybe that other person doesn't even know. Right. But definitely reciprocation and like lack of communication.
Those are big ones for sure. Mm-hmm. I've definitely had friendships where we've like completely decided not to be friends, and not like actually never see each other and never talk. Like we have shared spaces, so like we will say hi, but more like we just want to make it known to each other, like we're no longer feeding into this friendship. And I do that more probably like out of clarity and comfort for each other. Like, I just want you to know why I'm no longer trying. You know? And that's more situations where, like, for example, there's been a person who, like, I've been roommates with. And, like, I think I only take the time out of my day to have those deep friendships with people when I really, really do care about them. And I feel a need to tell them why. Whereas people who I'm like, I'm just going to create distance. Like, I don't need to spend my time talking to you for an hour. You know, like it just depends on the person. But
I agree.
I've definitely had conversations with people before, unfortunately, where it just didn't feel like, and a lot of it was living based on assumption of both sides. Like we both assumed things about each other. We both were not communicating. And then it got to the point where we were both like frustrated with each other about reciprocation, or about like meeting each other halfway, or about whatever it is, right? Or effort in general. And to the point where like then one in particular that I'm thinking about that I brought up to the person, they agreed. And I was like, oh, like we both were feeling this then. And so I feel like it was a sense of comfort actually when we had those conversations that, okay, like we both were feeling like this relationship wasn't doing us well, or we were feeling drained from it. So like it happens. And I think it was better for us because now when we see each other, it's just like, hey, like how are you doing? And like, that's it. And I think that's like where it is right now. And I don't think like friendship breakups mean like it's the end of the world. The thing that I think is beautiful about friendships is that I feel like you can rekindle them. I feel like you can come back to each other with time. Whereas like ex-boyfriends, bye forever. But with friends, I'm like, something could change, I think, one day.
I agree.
Maybe we just need time, or you know, whatever. So I've had those conversations. And in terms of like unhealthy friendships, like when I know that I have to create distance, that's more similarly, like communication is just like so important to me now. Like, and I think also excuses a lot of the time, like blame, like, oh, I've just like, and I get it too. Like when people have things going on in their life or they're really busy. I totally understand those things too. But I think there's a balance of let me know that then. Like, just let me know. I'm like really busy, instead of like, why is it that I'm always bringing it up? Like to ask you what's going on. So I think that's hard. That's been like a hard thing for me, that I'm like, okay, I need to create distance from this person.
That's very valid. And I also think like something you brought up made me think about like different like friendships. So, you know, you might have friends that you're really close to and you can talk to each other every single day.
Right. About everything. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you have that one friend that you probably talk to like once a month, but every time you guys catch up, it's like you never even stop speaking.
That's true.
And I think about like my best friend who lives in the East Coast, like especially when you're talking about like reciprocation and like communication. He is currently very busy, like in school, but he will make an active effort to reach out. We schedule
2 minutes. Send a text.
Literally. I understand that like our days can be chaotic, but like I have so much love for him because we both like it's a reciprocal relationship. Like he texts me, I text him. Good. But we schedule time to meet, and like he always tells me like I'm so busy this week. Like you probably won't hear from me, and I'm like,
see, but that's valid. All it takes. That's all it takes, and like, that'll make a huge difference. It's much worse when it's like, hey, I message you, you never respond. I message you again, you don't respond. Like, just send me one text. And I know it's hard sometimes. Like, people might just like, sometimes I feel overwhelmed by messages and I'm just like, I can't respond right now. But if you really care for a person, like, you don't have to give them much, but just like some type of communication, you know, like some type of like something, right? And I think that can go a long way, you know? So, okay. So the last thing I want to talk about in terms of this kind of portion of boundaries with friends. Okay, instead of just like boundaries of like removing yourself from a person completely, what about boundaries with friends that you want to actually have as a friend still? Like, it's super awkward to set boundaries, but let's say you don't like something that a friend's doing, but they're your close friend. Like, I feel like that also plays an important role in friendships. Sharing those feelings and letting them know how you feel about, I don't like this, or when you tell them something like, hey, I feel like you're, like you told your friend a few months ago or whatever, like, I don't want to do this thing, like, those conversations are hard.
They are.
They're hard because you don't know what's going to come out of you. You don't know what they're going to say or react. I feel like those are just really difficult.
They're hard.
Scary.
Yeah. I also think like as uncomfortable as these conversations are, they're very telling of like where the dynamic stands. I feel like more recently, I will say that I have always struggled with communication.
It's not easy.
Yeah. Like I always have like, and I'm thinking like reflecting on a few things. Like there have been a lot of times where maybe I didn't like something a friend did and I just kind of kept it bottled in and kind of took it. But I feel like now as an adult, because I love and value my friendships more and I'm, you know, being intentional
to last.
I have made the active effort to have those conversations. And I think my most recent one was like early in January when I had told them that like I want to be completely sober and I wanted to do sober things. And it was uncomfortable, but it honestly, like I remember it brought us even closer together because then we started going deeper into like sobriety and the importance it is and like substance abuse that runs in our DNA and like how we see that, you know, a lot of our families normalize like drinking, right? On like a weekend and throughout the week. And so it made us get more closer and intimate and like even when I think about it in relationships, like that's what happens as well. Like those conversations end up bringing you closer.
Exactly.
But it has been harder, and I guess I'm just excited for those situations to keep coming up so that I can like have the conversation.
It strengthens them. It
does.
I feel you because I have this friend who she literally brought it up to because we had like a whole friend group, one particular like college friend group who kind of like broke off. Like they just kind of stuff was happening clearly that people were feeling types of ways, no communication. But one friend in particular came to me and let me know how she was feeling and how just how she felt about it and what she felt she needed from me right now. And I was just like, dude, it was just so impressive to me. And she was the only one who like talked to me about something, and she talked to everyone like individually. And I just thought that was amazing because she really was like, okay, maybe the friend group's not hanging out together anymore, but I'm still going to clarify things with individuals and maintain those friendships still. And so I definitely think like that's really inspiring to me in the sense that like, it is so important to have those conversations because then it brought us closer after talking about that. Now I know and I have full clarity. This is what she's feeling. This is what she needs from me. And this is, and I was able to also share like, well, this is what I was thinking or how I was feeling. And I feel like those things save your friendships because that's exactly what I've seen of some of my friends that just like aren't friends anymore. They're not telling each other how they feel. Instead they're telling me, or we're telling everyone but the person we should be telling. And it's unfortunate because then that obviously y'all are thinking the same things and it breaks off. And so, I totally agree. Awkward as hell to have some of those conversations, but they are very telling of, is that friendship going to work? is it not going to work, and maybe you guys need some space, or it also helps you realize maybe your faults too, like, oh shoot, you've been feeling that, I didn't even know. Exactly, like, thanks for letting, I'd rather you give me feedback so that I know like what I'm lacking or what I'm not doing better, because then it only helps you feel like, okay, now I know, like, I'm listening and I'm acting on what they asked me to do. And you get to see that, you know, play out. And so you see how people react based on it. Even though it's awkward, like, people who really want you as a friend will listen and take the time of day to, like, want to hear what you're feeling, right? And not just like make excuses or like shut it down or like, you know, react weirdly in a bad way.
Exactly. It also just goes to show like how important like a friendship is to pour into, like just as much as like a relationship, you know, with a partner. They function similarly, right? They're like, you need to invest into them, you need to reciprocate, you need to communicate, you need to be vulnerable. And so it's hard, it's really hard, but I think it's really worth it if you want to maintain like loving, caring friendships.
Cool. And so the last part of our conversation is we wanted to talk a little bit more about building and sustaining friendships. How do you maintain healthy relationships, nurture them, feed into them to just maintain them?
Honestly, I think it's just making sure that like acknowledging that my friendships are important to me, right? Like anything else in my life. So pouring into them, nurturing them. I think constantly checking in with my friends. I think making the time to spend time with them, right? And like, I think one thing I used to struggle with was like quality over quantity, because like I love my friends and like I would love to see you guys every day, but the thing is like
FaceTime for 10 hours.
Exactly. But it's also like, you know, we all have our individual lives, but just making sure that we set like intentional time where we're going to be doing things that we both love, and things like that. And I think also just I think that would be it, honestly, for me. I think that's how I try to maintain them, and obviously taking the time to check in on them as well as like how they're doing mentally, right? Because I think important. Like sometimes some people struggle with like expressing how they are, but it's always good to do like some check-ins on like how people are doing. What about you?
No, I agree. I think your point on making time for people is big, because a lot of the times we all have lives, we're all doing stuff, we're all busy, we're all going through stuff. It's true. But I think the least you could do to reciprocate that friendship and maintain it is communication, right? Like letting them know what might be going on, or hey, I can't be available right now, or whatever it is, right? Like just some message I think is important, something to kind of acknowledge if you know, especially if like you're leaving them on scene, and I know things happen, but like I've heard of like, you know, 2 weeks never responding. I'm like, that's crazy. Like at least acknowledge it, you know, heart it, like something to make them at least know that they're being heard. But I think also like, when you care about a person, you're going to make time for them. You care about someone, you're going to set the time aside for it. And I also agree on the quality versus quantity. I feel like there are a lot of people, which maybe it's just different for everyone, but sometimes quantity is like more important to some people. Like you are just there, you're just physically present. But I do agree that like the way I feed into friendships is definitely more just quality time. And as busy people, I'm like, if I give you an hour of my time, like actually to me that's like a big deal. Like I'm giving you time out of my day where I got a lot of shit to do, but I want to be here with you. Like, I want to make time for you. And so it's, I definitely agree with that. And also just, I think the checking ins is important. Just checking in on folks. How are you doing? Especially if it's like distant friends that you don't see as often, which, I mean, they're plenty when you move away, right? Like far friendships. You make the effort to just like, hey, how's it going? I mean, we have so many ways of like keeping each other, you know, up to date and stuff, of course, through social media, but I feel like it feels so much more personal if you're just like sending a direct message. Like it's great to keep up through social media and like see what's going on, but it's like so different to still want to like hear that one-on-one, like how was this? How are you doing? You know, type of thing. So I think that's definitely important too. Okay. I guess the last question then I had is more on building new friendships. Obviously, this is something that I think a lot of people struggle with when it comes to post-college.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, college is so easy to make friends because you're in classes, you're on campus together, you're just in a bubble.
Yeah, you're in a shared space.
There's so many ways to connect. So even high school, right? You're forced to see the same people every day. You're gonna find people that you're just gonna like, you know, hang out with and become friends with. But post-college, you're really living like your own individual life. You're not living with friends. I mean, at least not most people. So you really got to go out of your way. You're working like a job 9 to 5 all day. Like, how do you even make friends in the first place? What are things that like you've done to make new friends post college, especially you moving back to LA.
I know. For me, honestly, like I love this conversation because I feel like I struggled with it a lot, but I really wanted to make like deep, beautiful friendships like post college. So I took the time and the effort to like make that a priority and like put everything else aside. And so like for me, I think like it took me almost around like a year because I was prioritizing other things for like the first year when I graduated. And then the second year I was like, okay, I'm in a situation where I do have to make friends. But for me, it was more so like, I honestly like just followed a lot of community like organizations and just keeping up with like what they're doing on the weekends and like signing up on newsletters. And I don't know. And I also think TikTok was my best friend when it came to that because like the algorithm like shows you what you like interact with. So I was interacting with like events and things like that. And so slowly but surely, I was just consistent with like going to like events that were happening. So like for my We Explore Earth group, like they would do a lot of hiking things. So I would make sure to try and go to like every Saturday. And then you meet people. And like I have always been like a introverted person and like but recently I've forced myself to be like a little bit more extroverted. Like you do have to get out of your comfort shell for that, and it's uncomfortable, like especially as somebody that's like a very much a homebody. Like I can chat, like I'm a good conversationalist, but it just takes a little bit of an effort and then like my battery and all that fun stuff, but it happens, it will happen. But just like honestly, like being consistent with it, taking the effort to also put yourself out there, right? Because it's like, what energy do you go into these spaces with, right? Like, do you have like crippling anxiety that you're like, oh my gosh, it's not going to happen? I'm like thinking about like all the things that can go wrong. But yeah, that was a little bit about like what I did. And I feel like now that's where I've met a lot of like, I would say like I have a strong community and I also have like a lot of friends outside from that.
And I think even to your point about community events, like what makes a big difference is when you're just generally entering spaces that you align with or that you value. So if you value like being outdoors, you're going to connect with people who have those similar values, like or have those similar interests. So it makes it so much easier. So that's why I feel like, well, the community groups or spaces that you're entering, choose one that like you already love for yourself, whether that's, you know, concerts or going outdoors or running or yoga, whatever it is, right? Like those spaces, you're going to already have a shared interest and that makes like conversation and connection just way easier. So I feel the same way because I'm like, when I go to a running group, even like I'm going to that space, people all love running there. So I'm like, we're all thinking about our health in that way or whatever our reasons might be. So I feel like that helps a lot for sure. That's a good one.
And then I also just realized too, like a lot of my like close friends now are like from my college like prep programs or youth development programs I did in high school. See, we reconnected.
We couldn't escape each other. We kept coming back.
We were more like good acquaintances in high school.
Different grades.
Grades, different friends. But reconnected through that. And then my other friends too, like we were involved in a lot of like las fotos.
So that's a great sign that like literally the things you're interested in, it brings you to, like it does. You share interests. Like, it makes you connected in more likely to be connected.
It's true.
And I think also I was going to say to the point about just like being uncomfortable and going to these spaces. It's definitely going to take effort. Like you need to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to need to you're going to need to do your research. You're going to need to be resourceful. You're going to need to go to eventually like make friends and find which ones to make sense for you. So it's all about exploring to like which ones you end up liking the most, or which ones you just feel like that's like your type of like community or what you really like, or that works in your schedule or whatever it is. So I definitely think that's like a really good point. One of the obviously ways that, we reconnected and something that I actually focused on too this past year, because I too was trying to like really focus this past year on making much deeper friendships with women. And I really just like, I always wanted it. And so I'm like so happy that I felt like this past year I've been able to open myself up to a lot of more women friendships. And one of the ways I did that was when I like saw a girl or knew a girl or like in a community space, I was like, oh my God, she seems cool. You're like, I'm like, I want to get to know her, or even through social media, possibly. Like if there was someone that I was like, oh, like she's doing this and I'm interested in that too, Literally, I shooted my shot. How do you
shoot it again?
I shot my shot. Whatever. I don't know. Shoot my shot. Whatever. Yeah, I shot my shot. Whatever. I don't know. And would just ask to go to a coffee shop together and like just hang out and just. I feel like it's like chill. We could just like talk, get to know each other, and I too feel like a good conversationalist. I'm like, I could just ask you questions. We can like find some type of like connection, and a lot of those have been successful for me. Like some of my closest friends, it actually started with a coffee shop. Literally, I couldn't even handful it. I'm like, we literally went to a coffee shop. So I'm like, that's at least a great way that has worked really well for me. And that could be anything, right? Like inviting them to go on a hike or to go on a walk. And dude, most people I feel like be down. I'm like, wow, you want to hang out with me? Like, girl, I'm down. Like, let's go, you know?
Also, like, I just feel like a lot of people are seeking friendships. Like, we live in a time where, like, people are lonely. Like, we don't really have, like, these strong friendships where we feel like they, you know, fulfill us, they empower us. And I like the coffee idea because I have a few, like, e-friends that I like through TikTok because I like making, like, little videos and then, like, they literally hit me up and they're like, hey, like, you do some really cool stuff. Like, can we hang out? And now we've, you know, been going out to hang out and it just happens. But I think also just like putting yourself in this like energy of like, I want to make friends. It's going to happen and it's going to take time because it won't happen in 3 months, 4 months. It's probably going to take like a year for you to build like a group of, you know, deep friendships. But it's possible. It's possible. If we can do it, you guys can do it.
I agree on the taking time. I think you shouldn't rush it. You shouldn't necessarily set an expectation like you want this many or whatever, like and also I think to my point too, like with coffee shops, sometimes I've had conversations, I'm like, I don't think we're gonna see each other again like that often, you know, it's like dating, honestly. But it's like, it's nothing that's wrong, it's just like maybe I didn't feel as like connected or like as like just excited to look forward to another time. So I feel like it's also good because you'll start to see like, okay, like I'm excited to like reconnect with this person or talk to this person again. And so do things and offer things that you like doing. And maybe they will too, whether that's running or walking or coffee or whatever it is, right? Going to eat food or trying a new spot, whatever it is. I feel like you're going to also figure out people that you just maybe like connect with and ones that you just don't as much.
Exactly. Like it's real. Like it's kind of like dating. Like I have a lot of memories where I'm like, I love you. Like, I wish you the best, but I just, you know, don't see anything. And you can do it respectfully, right?
It's a lot of effort. So it's like, I don't want to just, like, friends with everyone, like, but, like, the amount of effort for deep friendships, it's a different level for sure.
I agree. And, like you were talking about earlier, like, when I want to hang out with my friends, like, I really, like, value you in my life. Because it's hard. Like, I would love a massive group of friends, and I'm like, I don't have the time for that. Respectfully, like I think I can only do a few select
people
friends.
Who do that. There's some people who I know have 1 million friends.
Which
cool.
But great.
Damn.
It's hard. It's really hard to like.
I have a friend who literally has 99 because you can only have up to 99 locations.
On iPhone?
Yeah, on your iPhone.
I didn't know that.
Literally, she has 99. Like, she doesn't have enough space for anyone else. I'm like, damn, locations is like your friend. You have to be friends, I would hope.
Yeah, I hope. I know some people share.
Never see you again in my life.
That's awkward.
No, but I thought that was crazy. I mean, there's also a lot of like online spaces, obviously, where you can connect with people, like group chats, Meetup, the app, or group spaces that then like meet in person. So you can also find a lot of spaces through there. It's really just research.
It's cool.
And just like finding
it
spots.
Is really research.
Honestly, walking around, you see flyers everywhere. Like that's sometimes how I find out about events and stuff. And I'm like, okay, let me check it out. You never know what comes of it. Literally.
Yeah. Also, follow the organizations that you guys like, and then like look at their following. Who are they following? And like just follow them. And then it takes a lot of effort. Like you have to make sure you're like on top of the posts, making sure you're going to those things, but. It can happen.
It's worth it for sure. You end up finding some people that you connect with. To kind of close out today's conversation, we're going to do a fun activity, 2 fun activities. Okay, so let's first do the question that I have for you. What's a little thing that makes you feel cared for? Like something that a friend can do that just makes you feel like a warm heart.
A warm-hearted. I think I've had a few instances when friends have gifted me like flowers or certain plants, or even like any gift, like whatever item it is. I've had a few friends to be like, hey, like I got you this because it literally reminded me of you. I remember, I had a friend in college. She gave me like a plant. I don't remember exactly what flower it was. My apologies, but it was like a beautiful pink flower, and she was like, "I bought this for you as a thank you goodbye gift." And she was like, "It just reminded me of you because when I literally look at this flower, it reminds me of your energy." God. And I was like,
"That's cute." That's cute. Yeah, that would make me warm too. Yeah, definitely intentional gifts. Like that means everything. I think one thing though that I do pay attention, or that maybe they're not even doing it intentionally, but when someone, like a friend, has brought up like, "Oh, do you want to do this activity?" and I know that's not their number one thing they want to do, like a hike or what. Let's say like a hike. I have some friends who literally don't like waking up early. And they say that, and off of that, I'm like, wow, you really want to like do something that I would want to do. Like, that's so sweet.
I
so I think those things are like, I feel really cared for because I'm like, you really are making an effort to think about what I'd want to do.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to ask you this or that, and we can like both answer them.
Okay.
So it's a this or that friendship edition, whether you prefer this way or that way in a friendship. Making new friends or keeping your old ones?
Making new friends.
Yeah, for sure.
You do?
Yeah. Friends who text all day or friends who call once in a while?
Friends who call once in a while.
Yeah, that's a tough one because the terminology, I'm like, once in a while is like, how long?
Yeah, how long?
But I agree, like, friends all day, I don't text any friend all day. Yeah. Maybe like once the next day or a couple of days. Yeah. So I would prefer the calls as well. Deep late night talks or silly daytime hangouts?
Silly daytime hangouts because my bedtime is like 10.
We're gonna have the same answers here. This is why we're friends. Traveling with friends or hosting them at home?
Both, but I think I would prefer to travel with friends.
Honestly, yeah. Get out of the. Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I will say, even though I love all my friends, depending on the friends, I actually don't want to travel with some of them. Just
you learn.
It's
a
like
lot
having
about
a roommate. Like some things, it's just like, we probably should never be roommates. We probably should not travel internationally. Learn the hard way. So I would say I'd probably prefer to host, but I will travel with select people. Okay, friendship bracelets or matching tattoos? Basically all in or not?
I'm gonna say matching tattoos because I love tattoos.
Yeah,
so
I show them next time.
I can do it. Yeah.
I don't have any tattoos, so for me it would be the friendship bracelets. I'm a little scared of the needles. Yeah. Celebrating birthdays big or keeping it low key, like just a dinner hangout. Like, what would you want to do with your friends?
Yeah, I'm definitely a keeping it low key type of person. Like something sweet, simple, short.
Yeah, I feel that. I think for my birthdays, I do like going on trips, which I consider big. Like that's fun for me. Yeah. But I'm cool with either. Like I love just going on a hike and like that's it. Like that's fun to me.
Yeah,
and that's low key. Going out, bars and clubs, or staying in? So I know the answer already. Going out, duh.
Yeah, no, I think definitely staying in. But I will say that like I like dancing, so I can.
We gotta go to those days.
The coffee one.
Like, the cafeton.
Yeah.
Right? It's a thing.
Yeah.
You have to. We have no excuse for those because it's dancing.
It's during the day. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I also, college me would say going out. Like,
no, literally.
Yeah.
But now it's like, it's
just different.
I can't.
You get older
I can try, but like bedtime, like I'm already getting sleepy if I'm out by like 11.
No, literally. Like it's Friday and I'll still be asleep by maybe I like extend my 1 hour of the night too. To be honest,
it's real.
So, friends you see weekly or friends you see twice a year, but it feels the same.
For me, both because I have my long
different friends. Like exactly. I'm like that's how I was thinking about your best friend. I was like,
I have my long distance bestie out in New York. Yeah, and you too.
I want to meet him.
Yeah.
The trip. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Quality time or thoughtful gifts?
Both. Quality time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's more important.
For sure. Thoughtful gifts are great, but I prefer posting each other on socials or keeping friendships private.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I can do socials, but because sometimes I do things like on a public account, I just want to be mindful of like my friends and how they feel with me posting. That's
for sure. Spontaneous plans or planned weeks in advance? I'm a plan. You gotta schedule me
2 months in advance.
Literally, I'm booked and busy.
I really enjoy both. I like a good plan.
Both.
But like I like spontaneity because like sometimes I have a really intense like week schedule. Exactly. So like if a friend hits me up, they're like, "Do do you want to go to this jazz night right now? I'm like, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. Okay, last one. Oh yeah, living with friends or keeping separate spaces.
That's a firm boundary that I will always hold.
Yeah,
separate.
So when you move out, you think you're gonna like live on your own? Or live with
either live with a partner, live on my own, or find roommates. But
not
I love
like your best friends that you already know.
For me personally, like I love my friends so much that I would never want to jeopardize their friendship.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's tough.
You learn more about people when you live together.
Because then you're sharing like the cleaning and the habits and just things get so complicated for no reason.
It can work, but just I would rather not.
Shared spaces is just different. Okay, those are all the questions we had today. For every closeout, we're gonna do a shout out of a local business so we can both shout out a spot. We will eventually hope that we can both visit the same spot together and be able to share more about our experience there together. But for now, we'll just do like a separate shout out that you want that maybe you recently tried and really liked.
For me, it has to be Gigi's.
Oh my God, yeah.
Gigi's Bakery and Cafe in historic Filipino town.
It was good.
It is so, I forgot about you guys. It's basically just imagine like Porto's, but like a smaller version of it. But
is amazing.
It's great. Like I've been going there since I was like probably in my mother's womb. It's a great place. Mom and pop shop, still going strong, but still support them because they're a business that's slowly being gentrified all around them.
Yeah, you said where are they?
On historic Filipino town, so like on Temple. Yeah.
Yes, I actually just looked them up because I was curious how far they were. Yeah. Because it was really good when she brought it.
Yeah.
So
they got the guava little like pasteles.
Yes. So good. Shout out Gigi's Bakery. Yesterday for my brother's birthday, we bought Thai Deli. It's this spot. Have you been to Thai Deli?
The one on Cesar Chavez?
Is it on Chavez? Yes.
By the Memorial?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I love Thai Deli, a staple. They are quick with it.
Really?
My favorite plate though of all time is their chicken teriyaki, but it's so good.
Can they substitute it?
Well, no. But they have a bunch of other plates that I really like their pad thai. It's just so good. It's kind of like fast food, like sort of fast food, but like not really. It's like quick, whatever, but it's really good. I love that spot. Been going there all my life. So shout out Thai Deli.
Shout out to them. They've been there for a long time.
And they're hustlers.
Yeah.
They're cash only though. Bring cash. Mm-hmm. And then sorry.
She was so excited, you guys.
I was so excited to share that. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to do is sharing one wellness tip for the day. Yes. So anything that's something that you would recommend to the listeners to do?
I think one of the things that works for me sometimes is like mini video vlogs and like reflection. So instead of like journaling, because sometimes like it takes too much for me to like just sit down and do it.
It's hard, yeah.
But also it's a good practice. It's nice to like rant to like my camera on like my MacBook and just listen to myself. It helps me kind of process like my thoughts and things like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. Mine is similar in a different way, but I've been trying to get into reading lately, so my wellness tip is related to reading. I know a lot of people don't like reading, but I just feel like it's the idea that you're not supposed to like reading because, education doesn't make us love it, or the system doesn't make us love it.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, as you find books that you actually enjoy, it's so much more enjoyable. Mm-hmm. But for me, something to help separate, like, phone time, screen time, is I have an alarm that goes off, like, at 9:30, so I can put down my phone as a reminder. And, I'm working my way to bed, put it down. But instead of the last thing being that I look at my phone, I'm reading. And honestly, if you don't like reading, it puts you to sleep because you get tired of reading after a while. But I would say like the last thing when you go to bed, read a book. That's really nice for me. And don't set up any expectations. Like read a page. Read a little bit, read 1 page, 2 pages, and
grab the book,
open the book, read the first line, whatever. But that's my tip to kind of set those like boundaries there.
Thanks for holding space with us today, you guys. We're really grateful that you're here. If this episode spoke to you, feel free to share it with your homegirls, your primas, your sister, or whoever needs to hear it.
Yes. Thank you. And healing is totally personal, but it's also super collective. So we're really excited to be doing this with all of you. And of course, please follow and subscribe Healing in Spanglish wherever you listen, and also on Instagram to keep the conversations going. Why are you laughing?
I'm sorry, I started thinking about my tooth.
Like, did I say something?
No, I was like literally just visualizing my tooth.
Oh my God. Please make sure to follow us and subscribe at Healing in Spanglish wherever you listen, and follow us on Instagram and to keep the conversation going with us. And we're just really grateful that we got to share this space with you today.
Hasta la próxima, con mucho amor.
Bye. Bye.